Okay, so episode two. Oh, ready? Is this my good side? Wait, every side's my good side. How silly of me. Okay. Note to self. Manifestation works, but only if you check your email. Hello, friends. Welcome. This is Noted Out Loud. I'm Cece, and today we're going to talk about how manifestation is real. It works. You don't always have to answer the email, but you should take a look at it. But seriously, manifestation is just wanting something bad enough that you set your life up in such a way that you get it. And it's essentially, and then another way to put it for those who don't catch the woo-woo Uber, or who don't like to ride on a woo-woo train. Manifestation is just when preparation meets opportunity. You do have to put yourself in, you have to put yourself out there, and you have to put yourself in the situations to get what you're seeking or what you're trying to manifest, which is what I mean when I say, but only if you check your email. You must want it, and then you must position yourself. Even if you don't know how to get there, you must at least attempt to position yourself and do things that will help align you. And then the way I see it is that the universe will elevate that or accelerate that or take care of the rest. But there is like a little bit of effort along with the want and the longing for it that goes into it. Well, okay, story time. So manifestation does work, and I will tell you because so if you're just tuning in and this is your first episode with me, hi, thanks for being here, and hopefully we'll be friends by the end of this. And I'm a corporate baddie turned creator baddie. And as of 2024, I no longer dream of labor. When people ask me, oh, like, what do you do for a living? Like, what do you do for work? I exist. I create. Or I live. What do I do for a living? I live, because there's just more to life than the 9 to 5. And if the 9 to 5 is like your identity, or the 9 to 5 is your holy grail or your saving grace, like, more power to you. That's great. Love that. No, I don't love that for you, but pop off. You do you. But for those who like want something more, or like are living their life in something different, or maybe you are there and you want to be somewhere else, but you just enjoy indulging in people who have chosen to exit that type of life, then yay, stick around. I mean, regardless, stick around if you just like hearing my voice. But a story about manifestation. So this is how. So I'm pretty sure I manifested getting laid off from my job. And it's so funny because I say that I literally did, because it was something that, and I didn't manifest like getting the laid off part. I just manifested not being in that position and not working there anymore. And I say that because I was and let me set the context. So I've worked in a few places. Like I've worked in startup, I've worked in consulting, and I've worked in big banking. And on the strategy side, like I'm product strategy, product development, marketing strategy, like product marketing, like all that, all the products, all the marketing, all the strategy, all the engagement, consulting, business development, all that fun stuff. I've done it. And it was cool. And it was things I never thought I would do before. And And because even before that, like my first position after I graduated university was actually working in like government and public service. And I thought I was going to go that route because I wanted to be a lawyer. I still want to practice law, or at least get the degree and have the knowledge and utilize that somehow to help. Now I would like to help creators vis-a-vis a legal background. But until that happens, I did that first, and then I said yes to an opportunity because I didn't let an opportunity pass me by, because it was an opportunity that was recommended to me to apply from someone who I was working with, and who was like, I think you will be a good fit for this role. I think you should apply. Like, we all were like going just through craziness at the office that we were at, and I'm glad that colleague recommended me for this role. So I applied to this role. I ended up getting an interview. I ended up interviewing with the whole exec team. They loved me, and then I was on board, and I ended up, and it was a startup position. I had no idea what a startup was when I joined, and I ended up loving it, and I ended up creating a career for myself because I said yes to this opportunity, and I started in this role, and then it just grew, and I was able to create new roles for myself, and I stayed there for a while, for some years. And then after that, I ended up going on to consulting. Wouldn't even thought of that as a possibility, and even thought of consulting as a thing. And then to go on to do that, to go into finance was like crazy. But anyway, so I say all that to say, I had created this career for myself, and then I did the startup thing. I hit a ceiling, and I wasn't growing anymore. So I'm like, I need to do something else. So then I go to consulting, and that was fun for a minute. But then it was also 2020, and it was going great until COVID happened. And then COVID happened, and we were grounded, and we're working from home, but we're still doing like the same intense type of work, minus like all the things that mask all the crazy hours and stuff. So it was like the 80 hours a week, but no team dinners, no FaceTime with our clients and things like that, like in person. So it was a little bit lopsided and working so intensely. And I was bought into the consulting life. Like I was bought, sold, and like I thought that was going to be like the end all be all for me. And that ended up, and I did really well. I'm a really good consultant. I can advise you on some ish. I can advise you on a lot of things. Like, I think that is one of the reasons why I started this podcast, even though I keep telling you guys I am actually not giving you advice. Because I'm not trying to like, I'm not here to like sell you anything. I'm here to create community. And if I like recommend some stuff and it works out, that's cool. Or if I give you some advice and it turns out to be great for you, that's cool. Or like if my story or whatever I'm saying happens to be like very insightful or very inspiring for you, that's also cool. But like my whole get up is really to create a space for me to talk about things and to be consistent in something in my life. And then on top of that, to just like create a sense of community. And the best way that I know how to do that is through conversation and through sharing my experience and through sharing my stories. And I also am so regular about this. Like, I mean, I'm not regular. I'm like, I'm probably anything but regular. But when I say regular, I just mean I'm not trying to give you some crazy bit of like I'm not trying to give you some crazy story. I mean, those are fun too. Like having a crazy story. I mean, I do have those. I mean, those will happen. But beside the point, I'm not here to give you some like, oh, I went on to do this and I built 40 companies and da da da. Or I'm not here like, oh, and like, this. Just I'm not here to give you some outrageous story. I'm just here to I want to give you a fun, like humorous and just genuine and just like real story or real experience that you can say like, oh my gosh, yeah, like that, like I could do that, or like that sounds like a story I can relate to, or like because it's interesting but it's like also just like, yeah, it's like relatable. Okay, relatable. I guess that's what I'm I'm trying to get here. Like I want to be able to like, yeah, provide you something that you can relate to, because that's what I would want. Like I would want to hear things that I can relate to, because I think a lot of what we've gotten caught up in, and I swear I'm going to get back to story time in 2 seconds. This is, hey, this is what undiagnosed ADHD looks like. So I just need you guys to know that and stay with me. So, and I forgot the thought. No, but yeah, I think there's too much of like, which I enjoy I enjoy obnoxious, outrageous anything, but I feel like there is too much of that on the interwebs and on the social media, and I and my little corner of the interwebs, my little like we can get crazy. Like I'm a multi dynamic, multi layered person. Like I definitely have some crazy in me, and I definitely have some outrageous in me. But I also, there's just like sometimes just too much of it in the interweb sphere, and sometimes you just want something that's just like real, or that's just like, can it please be like something that's like actually something that like I could say like, yeah, like I have a similar story, or like, yeah, like this is like a similar thing. I think we need more of that. Like we definitely need more of that, especially in like what everyone's trying to say is, which is true, but like loneliness and like, you know, lack of community. Like I think in order to have a community, you need to be able to relate to each other. You don't have to be the same. Do not recommend being the same. Do not recommend, you know, being like so wrapped up and in something that's not you, but definitely recommend relation and relating to each other in various ways. And so for me, or what I can give to you, is a story that is possibly relatable. So, okay, so I have this, you know, I'm having, this is like my 10, so this is like my decade that, last episode I was like, oh yeah, the universe gave me like 10 good years to like be in like my little comfort zone bubble. So this is like my comfort zone bubble, but I'm also still trying new things with like the different roles I ended up working in. And so I do all this and I get burnt out. I am on this huge project. I was actually on a couple huge projects, but all the projects I was on happened to be huge. But this last one was like super huge, and I was doing really good, and it was great. It was great for my career, but like it was just so exhausting and so taxing. And so ultimately it burnt me out from consulting, and I ended up having a bad experience and perspective from it, because I'm just like, this is not what I was expecting, and I'm not really getting a lot of support. So, and I got like some support for like a little bit, like a very short time. That was like not enough, and I'm like, this is insane. So I leave that and go into big banking, because I thought like, and don't ever like, this is a side note, but this is like a tidbit. If you need to rest, then rest. Like, one mistake that I can say that I made is that I went from a stressful, exhausting, taxing situation into a situation that I thought would be like a slower pace of life, or slower, more easygoing. And what I really needed was rest. Like that's what I needed. I just needed to take a step back, and I needed to take a break. I didn't need to go slower. I didn't need to slow down. I didn't need, you know, to use less of my brain. I just needed to rest and to take a break. And at that point, I probably should have took a leave of absence, which was kind of an idea thrown around, but I'd never done that before. So I was like, I'm not sick. Like, what is that? But like, I probably should have taken a sabbatical, or just like, yes, taking some time off to just step away and do something that I love, and maybe come back to it. And my path could have been different, but everything happens for a reason. And opportunities that don't happen, that don't pan out, or that pass you by, and I will speak to this more in a second, are not bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So instead, my decision was, I decided to go and step into a new role, go to a different company that was what I thought was a slower place of life, and that ended up being slower, yes, in terms of how they get things done, but also just like very lacking in a lot of ways. And one of the ways that it was lacking is just like, just more tedious tasks that I thought that a tedious task would be better than what I was doing. And it turned out that it's not it. That's not the answer. The answer to something that is happening is almost never the direct opposite. It's like you just have to sometimes you just have to let stuff go. And instead, I did not let it go. I just went from one extreme to the other. And so that was my downfall. And so I ended up in this role. And at first it was going great because everything is new and bubbly and shiny. And then reality started to set in and you start to see what things really are, and the veil is lifted and all this stuff. And then I realized I didn't enjoy it. A lot of things I just didn't enjoy about it. And it started to become taxing. Like, the work wasn't taxing, but now just the mental capacity of being in this environment became taxing and mentally taxing on me. And so I ended up saying hey, I don't know how. And I mean, and I got through 3 years, or close to 3 years. But coming to that ending time, I was starting to say to myself, I think my days are numbered here. I'm not having fun. I'm not enjoying myself. I'm not vibing with the people. And I'm trying to make it work. I'm trying to be on corporate cruise control, which is so terrible. It's so terrible. And it grinds, it doesn't grind I guess it does grind my gears, but this is why it's just you just have to stand. And I think that was, and I thought that was it probably ended up being a double-edged sword for me of standing my ground. I would stand my ground on stuff, and I wouldn't be flexible or agreeable on things that I felt like I shouldn't have to be flexible or agreeable on. And when I say flexible, agreeable, this is just the corporate, it's the corporate cruise control where you just have to say yes to set things, even though there is things aren't being planned correctly, or strategy isn't being handled as it should, or not being executed as it should, and nobody says anything, and then it just turns to fire, and then now you're putting out this fire. I know fire is still a touchy topic, but you guys know what I mean. And I was not willing to do that. I have worked in several positions already now that I have worked in positions where I have dealt with terrible decision makers and terrible executive level and management level decision makers, that I was I just couldn't. There was only so much foolishness or so much tomfoolery that I could put up with. And so I was more vocal than I probably should have been, which is sad to say. But I mean, sad to say about I couldn't have been. It was sad. I had to feel like I had to tone it down, but I didn't tone it down, or at least sometimes I didn't. And in terms of just saying no, we're not focused on the right stuff, or we're not doing the right thing, and I realized I'm just speaking into the void. One, so I'm getting it's more of a mental tax, and then I just realized I don't want to be here anymore. I just realized there are better environments and better places to be. And however, and I try to exit myself from the situation, because when things like that happen, and this is not just about I'm trying to give you guys just context on my background, and we just happen to be talking about a career, because I'm going to get through the rest of this manifestation story. But this is anything friendships or bad situations, date, whatever it is, I will exit stage left so easy. And I say that if there's a situation you're in that you don't want to be in, you have to make, because some people wait until somebody else makes the move. This usually happens in breakups. Two people will be together, they won't be in love with each other anymore, or they won't even like each other anymore, and they will wait for the other person to break up with them. And that's I mean, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. But for me, I do not like to be in situations where I know I don't want to be in. And so I will do everything in my power to remove myself from the situation and to push it, keep it pushing, to exit stage left, whatever needs to happen. And so I was trying to do this in my work life. It happened to also be 2023, and the job market was getting tough. I didn't realize it at the time because I was just applying. I was just like, look, I'm just gonna start looking for other things and just do that. Super easy, like have no problem. However, the looking part was easy. The rest of it was not easy because nothing was happening, and so nothing was happening, unfortunately, and I was not getting called back, and so I was like, oh my gosh. And so there got to a point where I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this is happening. Like I'm still here, and I know like I don't have to be. Like I'm a talent. I high value talent, and so I'm like, oh man, I'm just gonna have to stick this out. And so that was kind of like, okay, here we go. But at the same time, I was so fed up. Like I was fed up, and I was really trying to just like go with it, but it was like really hard. So I also was like, it got to a certain point where I was just like, fuck it. And I just started saying like, my days are numbered, I'm not gonna be here too much longer, like things are just like, I am just not happy, I just do not vibe with, these are not my people. Like some of the, so, and I say that, but like the people there are people that I met there that I will always know, they know who they are, and but the rest of everybody, like not my people. But like if we had a personal connection, then like you were cool. Anyway, so I started speaking it into existence. Like when I would go to work, I would literally be like, yeah, this is probably like the last time I'm gonna walk through this quarter, or this is like the last time I walk down this block. Like my days are literally numbered. And then and then so I was like speaking it into existence. So and I say this because these are the things you guys should do for like things that you want in your life. Just start to say it. Like there's more things that are happening like that I want in my life, and I have just been speaking it and saying it. And you just have to do that because one, it's a mental exercise. So did not know that then, was just over it. But now that I've been through a year of more healing and just more mental, I think like neuroplasticity work, I have gotten to a place where like, okay, yeah, these things are like changing how you move, like how you think. And so speaking things, like just saying things, what you want, just talking about things that you want to happen, or things that you want to achieve, or anything, places you want to go, it like you just start speaking it. And so that's what I was doing, unbeknownst, because I was just fed up. But really I just started speaking it into existence. And then I remember, because I remember this, so not this Christmas holiday that we just got done with, but the Christmas before, so 2023. And I was so like, I wasn't even using my full brain capacity, like, but I was just so done. I was just so tired and so taxed. And I was like, you know what? I like, if I want, and okay, in my mind, I was doing things and putting things out in the universe. I didn't realize how I was doing it. But like in my mind, I wanted to just find something else or find something better. And so I decided, got the bright idea to write up my resignation letter. So I wrote up a resignation letter, and then I was like, this needs to happen. I was thinking like, okay, if the universe knows that I want this to happen, it will send another, like I'll find another role, like all this will happen, like that. Like in my mind, that's what I was thinking, like to my regard, like there's a better saying for what I'm trying to say, but to my regard, like for what it's worth, I was trying to conjure up like, yes, the next move. Little did I know that the next move would be that. Like I wasn't thinking like that. There probably were signs, and I was just like too tapped out to even like look for them, and like I kind of started to notice them, but by the time I started to notice them, it was like things were already done, and like it was like not too late, but just like whatever, things were already happening. But so I drafted up a resignation and I dated it, and it's so crazy because I dated it for the similar time, and just like all these things start to happen. And so, and I say all that to say that if you really want something, just speak about it, speak it, and write it down, because your words do carry weight in the energetic world, and so does like the things that you write down. And it might not happen right away, and then it might happen sooner than you thought, and then it might happen in a way that you didn't think about it, but regardless, it will happen, and it will happen for you, and it will be a good thing. And even though some days I'm like, was this a good thing, because I am like, this is what I do now full time, but this isn't quite paying for anything yet. So yeah, it kind of will make you question, but it will be worth it. And so that is my manifestation story. Manifestation does work, but you do have to check your email, and you just have to take opportunities, and you just have to put yourself out there. And if something is not meant for you, it's okay. If you are a type of person where you feel like opportunities pass you by, don't feel bad about that, because that means that it was there for you to acknowledge, or maybe there for you to get inspired or to teach you a lesson. But that opportunity wasn't actually meant for you to have, because if it was, you would have it. And opportunities have passed me by too. Do you know? Okay, so I say, get this, but and then I realized I think this was like just for me to know, but not for me to have actually pursued. But so in 2023, when I was applying to a ton of positions and a ton of roles, I actually did get a call back for an interview, and I missed the email. It literally, like, it slipped. I mean, I didn't delete it. Like, I found this email. I don't know how I found it, but it was like this email, but it actually was for a callback for an interview, for a role for a company that I actually did want to. It was like a startup, and I was interested in working there at the time. And they actually got back to me. They wanted to schedule an interview. They were really impressed, and I never got back to them. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? But then here goes the bit where sometimes things are meant for you to see, meant for you to acknowledge, or meant for you to learn a lesson, but they're not actually meant for you to pursue. That same company ended up like in the news. I think that's actually why I ended up finding the email, because I was like, oh, I think I like applied to this place, because I was just like so shocked about what I was reading. And this is how I found the email, that they actually did get back to me, and they wanted me to come in. But they ended up, like, something happened, and they were like, I want to say like they were like under investigation maybe, or something happened that was like because this is like healthcare. This is like healthcare tech, and something happened and they got in trouble for it. And then they were not hitting their quotas, like, anyway, their revenue targets anyway, and they ended up laying off a bunch of people. So I would have been in a layoff anyway, probably, if I had gone in less time so it actually, and it would have been like a company that had like, I mean, the company, all companies are just like bad in some way, but big companies, usually all major companies are, oh fuck, I gotta cut that out because I want brand endorsements, fuck. But anyway, fuck, I might not even be able to talk about this. Okay, I say all that to say that I went to work for this company, and it ended up, something happened, and they ended up having, and then they didn't make their revenue, and they ended up having layoffs and stuff anyway. So I dodged another bullet, that could have happened. And so the opportunities that are meant for you will come, and sometimes things unfold in a way that is like for you and for what you wanted, but not in a way that you imagined it, which is another thing that I learned. But it was worth it, I think. still living through it. So we'll keep you posted. But I think the cool piece is that you realize that opportunities do come to you, and you realize that you do like you are changing your life in the way, like the things that you do in your life do matter. And so I think that's like a cool note to to have for yourself. It's just like you can change your circumstance. Things may happen because there's like a lot at play, but like that may be out of your control, but you can change your circumstance too, with a little bit of effort and a little bit of delusion and a little bit of saying it out loud, which is why, and not being fearful of saying it out loud, which is why I started telling my friends like things I started doing. So I went to this art gallery this past weekend, and there was a woman there who was also looking at artwork, and she started chatting me up because I don't know why, but people find me like, I even try to have like sitting bee face, but like, nope. People are like approach me all the time, and I do it. I mean, sometimes I'm okay. Sometimes it's fine. I mean, most times it's fine because like, okay, clearly you think I make you, I have an approachable spirit, I guess, approachable aura, whatever you want to call it, sitting nice face, whatever you want to call it. And so she started trying to chat me up, and or me and my friend, because I'm with my friend, and she's like, oh, I don't forget how the conversation starts off, but then she asked us where we're from, because the art gallery, we did a mini gallery hop in Evanston, Illinois, and it was really fun. And what we were telling her that we were from the city, because I'm from the city, my friend actually lives out there, but I'm like, well, you can be from the city because she used to live in the city. So I'm like, we're from the city, we're just like, we enjoy like hopping around. And she was like, oh, she was telling me about these writing workshops in this writing community, and she started telling me that because she was like, oh, what do you guys do? And I'm like, I'm a writer. And she's like, oh my gosh, like I've been going to these writing workshops with this writing community. And she was telling me all about it, and like, you should come too. And I'm telling this story because this is the first time I said I'm a writer, and it was like confident, and like it just came out, and it was like no thinking about it, no positioning it, like it was just like, I'm a writer. And that is really important to me because, and a continuation of what I'm trying to manifest in my life currently, is I am in a career pivot. Like, I am going from working and I still want to be in or adjacent to tech and be involved. Like, I enjoy AI and learning about AI, and I've been using AI like the most since I've become like fully engrossed in an entrepreneur creator pathway. But in terms of like, I'm not in the same industry of like healthcare tech, and I'm pivoting away from that. I'm pivoting away from the big like some of the functions and things that I used to do, and I'm coming into new functions, and I'm leveraging my talents in different ways, and I'm leveraging my talents more so in different spaces and broadening my industry breadth. And so with that, I am writing, and I have become a writer, and it's something that I enjoy doing, and it's a great space to be in. And I mean, it's a interesting space. But I find joy in it, and I get joy out of it. And so, and with all the things I'm creating, I like, they don't just create themselves. Like, I have to like write about what I want to talk about, and write about what's important to me and what matters. And so, and that's what I've been doing. And it just felt so good to finally to say it, because I had been saying it, but before I was saying it, like, I would like think about, I'm like, okay, I would go to an event, because I have been going to networking events because entrepreneur, and I'm like, I need new business. And I would pre-think about it, and I would be like, okay, they're gonna ask me what I do, and I'm gonna say X, Y, and Z, and I'm gonna say, oh, but I do this too, and I'm gonna do it in this order. And it was just really very premeditative. But and that moment was the first moment where I just said it, and it felt real, and it felt good. And then I realized like how like hard I said it. And I was like, okay, I need to like calm down. Yes, I'm a writer. Like it's okay. So but I think, I don't know, it seems like such a small story, but big impact in terms of, you probably have something that you are wanting to do or wanting to tell more people about. And eventually, like, it may not feel real, or it feels real, but it may not be like you're still kind of pushing yourself to do it or to say it. But you will get to that point where you're just going to say it, and it's going to feel so good, and you're going to be so confident about it. So keep saying it. Even say it to yourself. Like, that's where it starts. Like, you're just saying it to yourself, you're just writing it down to yourself, and eventually, like, you'll be expanding on that. And so yeah, words matter. um, yeah. So I don't let missed opportunities get you down. A missed opportunity is just a opportunity that wasn't for you. And you don't always have to respond to your email, but you do have to check it. Please check your email, because I cannot believe, because I usually, okay, I do keep an inbox with unread email, and I also keep a phone with unread messages. I am one of those people. But I usually, okay, so how I get away with that is because I may not always respond, or I may not always respond right away. And sometimes I will forget to respond, but I will look at it eventually. I may not look at it right away, which that's something else. Like, we need to stop being so, or I wish that more people would just like not feel like they need to respond to things like right away. Like, you probably did see it, or you probably didn't see it. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't care, because I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna always respond right away. Definitely take a look at it, because you don't want to miss out on something that you really, 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 really. But even if you do, then that's okay, because even though you really wanted it, it was meant for you to have the ambition towards it, or the inspiration for it. But everything's still gonna happen the way it needs to happen. So don't worry. And yeah, that's what I have for you today. That's where I'm at. Like, I'm writing, I'm creating, and I am manifesting new goals, because I would like to eventually create and start to evolve into lucrative ventures for me. And I am enjoying like working on new projects and things, and meeting people, meeting the creatives I meet, and other just amazing personalities. You're only one layoff away from a dream. To like put it in a capitalist perspective. Oh, also, side note, you do not dream of labor. I want everyone to stop saying that they have a dream job. You do not have a dream job. You have a dream activity. You have a dream lifestyle. You do not have a dream job. We humans do not dream of labor. And if you are dreaming of labor, we need to have a deep conversation. But you have things that you like, activities that you like to do, a lifestyle that you would like to have. You do not have a dream job. That is not a real thing. You may have a career that you really enjoy. You may have some functions that you do that you really enjoy, but it's not a dream. Your dream should be to create. Your dream should be to socialize. Your dream should be to enjoy silence. Not be lonely, but be in solitude. Enjoy the peace. Enjoy the present. But all this like dream job stuff, it's done. It's 2025. Half of like the largest state is on fire still. And the other part of the country is in a polar vortex. So I think you should want to do something a little bit more meaningful than a dream job. Just a little bit more meaningful. Putting it into context, take with it what you may, but throwing it out there. And I'll leave you with this last bit of information. If you are a person or someone who is in a time in their life right now where they don't know what they want, they don't know what they want to manifest, they don't know what they want out of life, they don't even know like what they are into enough to even have a dream, anything, that's okay. That just means that you need to sit and really think about the things that make you joyful, that bring you joy and make you happy, like genuinely happy, like a pure stomach from the stomach type of joy. And then also you may need to just try a bunch of things and like do a bunch of things, because sometimes when you are a person who doesn't know what they want, it's either or like what the main things are for you. And so there may have been a time in your life where you did, but you may be at a crossroads, or you may be just at a place where you might have accomplished all of that, or you might have tried it and found out you didn't care for it, and now you're back at ground zero, and that's okay. You just need to, but it's either there are a lot of options out there for you, or there's not enough options. But either way, all you need to do is to dive in and just try something and keep trying something until you find the thing that you try that you're like, okay, I think this is going to be like a thing. Or take a step back and just sit with yourself and think about what you would like. Conjure up a dream for yourself, conjure up something that you would want to manifest for yourself, and then go from there. But either way, know that whatever you think about and whatever you decide to put your mind to eventually will turn out for the best, how it should for you. Oh, and on that note, I will leave you to it. This has been fun. If you have enjoyed our little conversation today, like, subscribe, share, and join a conversation in the comments. Join a group chat. We will love to hear what you have to say. Tell me what you've been wanting to manifest, or what you have been thinking about as a goal, or it's something that you want to try and do. Let me know if you've been checking your email, or maybe you don't check your email. That's cool. Let us know so we don't email you. But either way, I will see you next week, friends.